And people are being told that if they do appear, whether they're pleading guilty or not guilty, they're very unlikely to get bail. And if they do end up in prison, somebody who told me, somebody who knows about these things, told me that any right-wing, far-right protester landing up in jail, they can expect a pretty cold reception from what he says are Asian gangs inside prison who will be looking out for them.
Very interesting commentary from Martin Brunt on Sky News, their crime correspondent, regarding the people allegedly involved in the riots and also stoking it up on social media, apparently, that is. His prison service source has told him that they will receive a cold reception in jail. Sounds like it's all planned in advance. They're all convicted in advance. They're all being denied due process in advance. And of course, in advance also, they can expect a cold reception because the Asian gangs will be hunting for them. They'll be looking out for them. Well, they can expect no end of trouble, I can tell you that for a fact. The prison service riddled with prison officers who will tip off other prisoners, incite them to attack other prisoners in actual fact. And I know this from direct experience. I was at HMP Ranby in March 2020, and a prison officer in the Equalities Department who had been tasked to speak to me about the fact I was once a member of the British National Party some 22 years ago, came and pulled me out of Workshop 9, which was graphics design in actual fact. It's quite amusing. And considering the fact that the two lecturers in that workshop were both fanatical cultural Marxists. So anyway, this PO, which means prison officer, this PO officer, who I won't name, because the moment you name them, they start crying about fear, alarm and distress. Some imaginary harassment, which just does not exist in the real world at all. It's just their way of silencing people who dare to expose the truth about them. So I stood outside in the corridor when we should have been in a private office. He asked me if I was once a member of the British National Party, which I confirmed. Stood just around the corner were two black prisoners. He did it deliberately. And afterwards, he said, "Oh, well, sorry about that, we really should have discussed this in an office in private, shouldn't we?" He said, but nothing was available, which was absolute nonsense. He was told to do it by the governor of the Qualities Department. And so this then set the scene for months of harassment by Prevent. They came to see me, and one of the most laughable things they raised with me was, "Did you put a pagan death curse on the unborn child of your former partner, Elizabeth Brown?" Well, in actual fact, Elizabeth had had a hysterectomy several years before I met her, so it was physically impossible for her to conceive a child again. That, of course, didn't bother them. They're not interested in salient facts. Any old drivel will do, basically, when they're looking to turn someone over to impede the progress of a prisoner. So it went on, it continued, and it went all the way to HMP Sudbury in Derbyshire, which is an open prison, where they stopped me from being released the day before I was supposed to be released, because I was once a member of the British National Party. No legality to it whatsoever. They said, "We believe you may well be a security threat." But throughout that sentence, and I was inside for 12 months in 4 different prisons, not HMP Leicester or HMP Nottingham, but HMP Ranby and HMP Sudbury, I had nothing but trouble with fanatical leftists in the prison service, particularly area command. There was one damning incident in actual fact where an SO, senior officer, where the SO called me into his office and he said that he'd spoken to area command and they said to him, "Look, this Tomlin, he's not on a wing full of fucking white men only, is he?" Now, could you imagine them saying that about ethnic minorities? Well, in actual fact, one wing, West 4, at HMP Sudbury was for non-white prisoners only. Not officially, it was not official prison policy, but that's the way it was in reality. and the prison officers knew about it and did absolutely nothing to stop it. So if they believe you have been involved in any form of so-called far-right organisation, you can be certain, absolutely guaranteed in fact, that you will have prison officers of various ranks tipping off other prisoners, inciting other prisoners to attack you. In fact, most of the attacks on right-wing people in prison are as a result of other prisoners being tipped off and incited by prison officers. So yes, I mean, I don't doubt Martin Brunt whatsoever, and I just wanted to relate my experience of being in prison and having a right-wing background, because at the end of the day, they will impede the progress of a prisoner, first and foremost, on political grounds, and they will also do things, and sometimes quite openly, quite deliberately, incite other prisoners to attack right-wing prisoners. So yes, these Tommy Robinson supporters most definitely can look forward to a very unpleasant and hostile reception in prison once they're named and identified by prison service personnel. And I can absolutely guarantee you it will happen, because the punishment, should any punishment be necessary, is not having your liberty deprived. The real punishment is the terror tactics that they use in prison once you're there. So I would advise all of these people basically, look, watch your back. Most definitely watch your back. And it doesn't matter if you've just innocently reposted some information on the internet as a result of what other people have deliberately posted there for malicious reasons, Nobody will be interested in that in the prison environment. It's ruthless, toxic, and very dangerous. And they will attack, shanked, striped, napalmed. Napalm means kettled. They put boiling hot water in a kettle, put sugar in it, and throw it all over you. It's a very dangerous environment, and be in no doubt whatsoever, and I couldn't care less what anyone in the prison service has to say about it. Prison officers most definitely do incite other prisoners to attack certain prisoners for whatever reasons are known only to them. And where it's political, you can be absolutely certain that malice will be the overriding factor. And I'll close on saying this. At HMP Ramsby in North Nottinghamshire, a Category C prison, the biggest and best funded department, of course, was the Equalities Department in the converted dining hall, where money was thrown at it, quite frankly, flags of every imaginable description. Some of them just made absolutely no sense at all as far as I was concerned. It was just astonishingly stupid. But they expect absolute and blind obedience, because HMP Ramsby, quite frankly, is just a neo-Marxist gulag. It's supposed to be called a working prison, but most of them don't work. They just sit around all day making excuses about why they can't work. And when they're non-white prisoners, I'm not saying all non-white prisoners refuse to work, some of them do, and they always cite slavery. Oh no, we can't work because it's slavery, you see. We will not be used as slave labour, and they just allow them to get away with it. White prisoners can't do the same. That much I can guarantee you for a fact. I met two prisoners from the West Midlands, white guys, in HMP Ramsby on House Block 5, the enhanced wing. And both of them said to me that we weren't racist until we came to jail. Jail made us racist because of the way they treat white people and non-white people. There is most definitely a two-tier prison service as well. In fact, it's two-tier across this entire country. And if you survive prison and end up on probation, you'll find that the vast majority of probation officers are leftist and liberals as well. And they will also pull all manner of dirty tricks and stunts to recall you to prison. So all I can say is, welcome to the world that I had to live in. You're not going to like it in the slightest. Keep your wits about you. Keep your eyes peeled. Watch your back, both inside and outside, because we are definitely living in a two-tier tyranny. End of.